Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all my brothers and sisters of Kono district and all friends of Kono who have joined KDDA at this conference in London. I bring you greetings and peace. May the peace, mercy, and blessings of Allah be with you all throughout the conference and beyond. May we see the best of results out of this conference. My name is Fatima Wahab, and I am the president of the Ansarul Alumni Association. I'm also a daughter of Kono. Our plan was for me to be there in person with you, and we did all we could humanly do for me to be there. Unfortunately, it did not happen. And we are hoping that this presentation would at least be counted as our contribution, and we are hoping that it adds value to this conference. And we are hoping that this would be the beginning, and we applaud KDDA for putting this together. This is the best idea that I have seen so far in our community. And I'm hoping that this would continue, not just continue as a conference, it will continue as a way for us to build our community. So first, about the Ansarul Islamic Schools. Ansarul Islamic Schools, the first one was founded by two Fulani men, immigrants from Guinea, who settled in Kono and made Kono home. Alhaji Chuto Jallo and late Alhaji Sajali Yuba, may Allah be pleased with him, built the first Ansarul Islamic School in 1974. And their mission simply was to provide service to mankind. And as they say, the rest is history. They had the foresight and faith in humanity to invest in the children of Kono. They knew that by educating the sons and daughters of Kono, they were making the best use of their money. And it paid off. Today we see the result. We have a lot of alumni members. The school has grown actually into 300 schools around Sierra Leone, and we have alumni members all around the world. We have alumni members in all walks of life. We even have alumni members as leaders in Sierra Leone and as top civil servants in Sierra Leone. And the Kwaidu Ansarul Islamic Boys and Girls School is still running strong, and it's one of the best schools in Kwaidu right now. We formed the Ansarul Alumni Association as a way to bring all the alumni members from all around the world under one group as an association, so that we can continue what our founders built. So we are a non-profit organization. We are based in the United States with members all around the world. Our mission simply is to preserve the legacy of our founders by making education accessible and attainable to the most vulnerable in Kono and in Sierra Leone at large. We do this through financial, educational, technical, and humanitarian support to the Ansarul primary and secondary schools, as well as the Ansarul mission. As an organization whose roots are planted in Kono, the Ansarul Alumni Association is ready, willing, and very much interested in working with other stakeholders to chart a sustainable future for Kono. We cannot work in a place that is not favorable to the students that we are trying to help. Kono is a powerhouse, as far as I'm concerned, for national resources. But when we look at or we see the deplorable condition of Kono, it's easy for us to forget how important Kono is and has been to Sierra Leone. So of the 3 districts, the eastern districts in Sierra Leone, Kono has the most diamonds. Of the 14 chiefdoms in Kono, 10 are producing diamonds. Kono has produced most of the diamonds in Sierra Leone. When you, I believe the Star of Sierra Leone was found in Kono, and this means that Kono has brought the most wealth to Sierra Leone. Let's not forget that. So Kono has many other resources, but just to name a few, Kono has gold, and Kono is also a very fertile land that is producing crops such as rice, cassava, coffee, cacao, palm nuts, and many more. Kono is also very rich in human resources. I say that because of the diversity of the people of Kono, with a diverse ethnic, religious, people from diverse religions. It makes the sons and daughters of Kono of diverse races, ethnicity, creed, and beliefs. That's a beautiful thing to have diversity amongst us. But as we all know, despite all its richness in land and people, Kono is home to the poorest in Sierra Leone. The plight of our people are too many to list, but just to look at a few, they are suffering serious violations of their human rights. They are losing their ancestral homes and farmlands, and they are surrounded by environmental destruction of land, destruction of marine life, and they are enduring extreme poverty and shortage of food. People in Kono are not taking part in decisions that affect them adversely. This is the deplorable condition that our people are living in, and there are many, many more that we could list. Our common concern for our people and the desire to pave a better future for Kono are some of the reasons why KDDA organized this conference. And there is a great need for all stakeholders of Kono to start a conversation as a community on how to chart a better future for Kono. We all know that as individuals, the Kono community is doing very, very well, politically, socially, and economically. As individuals, the Kono community is educated, wealthy, successful, socially, and politically powerful. But you and I also know that these individual successes have not translated to progress or prosperity for Kono. Why? In my view, it is due to our failure to work together as a unified global community for the good of Kono and our people. Brothers and sisters of the global Kono community, it is time. It is time that we take a serious look at ourselves. We need self-reflection. We need self-introspection. We need to look at our own actions. We can point fingers all day long, but if we do not look in the mirror and see what we are doing, how we are doing things, we are not going to succeed. We must ask ourselves, what are the behaviors that are holding us back to work together as a community? In my view, the Kono global community must acknowledge and endeavor to discard destructive mentalities that have prevented us from working together as a unified community. These mentalities that I have observed are not isolated to the Kono community, but the fact is we have too much at stake because Kono is the most destroyed land in Sierra Leone. During the war, Kono was the most devastated, and Kono has taken the longest to redevelop since the war. So we have to see, those of us who are concerned and those of us who are from Kono have to see this, that this is a special situation that we are in. We cannot afford these mentalities such as paternalistic, divisive, glory-seeking, indigenous versus non-indigenous, silo mentalities. We cannot afford this. Even if this is the trait of Sierra Leoneans, we need to deliberately drop these mentalities. Otherwise, we are not going to be able to work together. And until we work together, we are not going to be able to save Kono. There is no Messiah out there to save Kono. We, Kono people, are the most anointed messiahs who can save Kono. But we cannot save Kono if we don't work together. And the only way we can work together is to drop these mentalities. Now, what do I mean by patronizing mentality. It's the mentality that leads us to be condescending to other sons and daughters of Kono because they are not from our tribe, religion, region, or political clique. Now, I'm not saying these things to point fingers at anyone or to say anybody in particular is guilty of this. We're all guilty of it, and this is mainly for consciousness raising. If you have not noticed it, you need to observe it, and we all need to look in the mirror. It's the mentality that leads us to treat other people from Kono as if they don't matter. We disregard what they bring to the table to contribute to the development of Kono. We disregard that, and we focus on the differences between them and us. So this mentality also leads us to blindly follow those who are from our tribe, from our region, from our religion, or whatever clique we share with those people, even if they're taking us into the pits, even if they're taking us on the wrong path. We tend to follow those people just because we are in their cliques. We need to drop that mentality, and we need to drop the divisive mentality. This is the mentality that leads us to create many factions in the Kono community. One brother and one sister are not getting along. They're in the same Kono association. Next thing you know, another one crops up because they're not getting along. This is the mentality that prevents us from trying harder to work together as brothers and sisters, regardless of whether we get along or not. We are siblings. We do not have to get along, but we do have to take care of our mother. And when our mother is ailing, the differences between you and I is the list of our problems. So we need to go past these. We need to put these in our past. We need to put this divisive mentality in our past that has fragmented us as people from Kono. It prevents us from being proactive. We become reactive constantly. Whenever things happen in Kono, we react. We are looking for ways to come together at that point. It's too late. If we are not already together, holding hands and ready for any crisis, we cannot come together when the crisis happens. It's always good to make an effort to do that, but we have to realize that that is not a way to go. We need to be together. We need to form ourselves as a community. And the other mentality that I have observed is the silo mentality. And that leads to us working separately and in isolation from each other. We do not share best practices, and it leads us to compete in unhealthy ways against each other. And this is the mentality that leads us to seek individual or group glory just because we want to be the ones in the limelight. We disregard what it takes for us to come together as a community. So we need to drop that, put that in our past. The other thing we need to also be observant or be conscious of is who we see as the enemies of Kono. So who are the enemies of Kono? I have observed that we are constantly pointing to individuals as enemies of Kono, but in my view, we need to embrace the fact that we are dealing with structural enemies of Kono, not individuals. And the individual actors in these structures are mere dispensable tools. Today is this person, tomorrow it's the other person. So they are dispensable tools. They are not the enemies. So we need to recognize these structures, and we need to know that they have been in place since the colonial era. And when the colonial master left, the colonial master was replaced. So we have these structures in place, but we have never tried to fight the structures. We're looking at the individuals. By doing that, we are failing to recognize the real enemy, the structural enemy. We are failing to have the right strategies to fight for Kono's development. So how do we fight the structural enemies? I'm not here to describe how we do that. We can do that once we get together and we become a community that is strategizing to fight this structure. So what I'm trying to do here is to raise the consciousness of this fact, and we need to embrace the fact that the enemies of Kono are structures, not individuals. Once we do that, we would see that it takes structure to fight structure, and we need to recognize that the Kono global community can be a forceful structure, acknowledging and putting our destructive mentalities in the past, tapping into our diversity as a people. As I said earlier, Kono has one of the most diverse populations. So tapping into that, tapping into our diverse talents, bringing our successes onto the table to, make Kono better, and making individuals making commitments to become tools uh, of a formidable global community. We can build a structure to fight for the prosperity of Kono. So it is our moral obligation to save Kono from the abyss of structural injustices. And we cannot do that as individuals. We cannot do that as fragmented organizations. We cannot do that as, people who just want to stand on the stage and be famous. We have to do some legwork, and we have to roll up our sleeves on this, so we can succeed by becoming a unified Kono global community. So this is the global community will be able to translate our individual talents and achievements to advocate for and fight injustices in Kono, build and empower our community. And we need to really look at this third part, that we need to find ways to amicably resolve our differences without losing sight of our moral obligation to unite and fight for Kono. As they say, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. We can fight. We don't have to get along all the time. But we don't have to be destructive. We do not have to destruct the structures that we are all working to put together. We need to stop splitting our organizations into pieces. We need to stay as unified structure. So the Ansarullah Alumni Association is committed to educating the sons and daughters of Kono District. In that effort, we need an environment where these children can strive, these children can thrive and succeed. If we are able to work with other stakeholders to create a better environment for the children of Ansarul Islamic and all children in Kono, this is our hope, and this is what we are committed to. So we are willing and able to join other Kono stakeholders, and we are able to bring our talents to the table to form this formidable structure that we need for Kono's progress. And we are willing to work with the Kono global community to chart a more sustainable future for Kono. We thank KDDA for thinking about this and inviting us, and for being the catalyst for a better roadmap for Kono. Thank you very much.